What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today I'm going to be talking about Marty Supreme and why going to the movie theater is my safe haven. So, I hope everybody out there is doing well. Uh, I just need to talk about Marty Supreme, but also talk about how going to the theaters still matters a lot to me. Because I know nowadays everybody's all like, oh yeah, streaming, and that is cool and convenient in some instances. But in my particular life and family situation, being able to get away for even if it's just for a couple of hours, is something that I need from time to time. And that was really heavy on my mind after I finished watching this movie because the true sign of a great movie experience is when I am just fully locked into the movie. My surroundings, everything around me is out of sight, out of mind. It feels like it is just me and this giant screen, no matter how many people might be around in the theater. And that's what happened with Marty Supreme. Now, I'll just mention straight up like, this is another movie on the ever growing list of reasons why I've really become a fan of Timothy Chalamet in the last handful of years. For me personally, it really started with the Dune movies because I did a recording back with the Dune in 2021. First year I started doing the podcast and stuff about how engrossing that experience and stuff was. And same thing with Dune Part 2. And then with what is the one the Nowhere movie from last year? A Complete Unknown. Okay. I had to double check. A Complete Unknown. All these movies I continue to be engrossed with. And so he pretty much at this point, like if I see he's in a project, then I am automatically locked in. So, like I said, Marty Supreme, super awesome movie. And we're going to dive into that in a few minutes. But just kind of wanted to up front just talk about why, like I said, the theater experience matters to me so much. So, for those of you who may be new here, as this is all called Dad Needs to Talk. So, I'm married, father of 5 kids, 3 boys, twin girls. The older 4 are all teenagers now. My youngest son, he's on the spectrum, so that has its own, set of things to navigate. And my wife's grandmother is living with us. And she has things going on with her. So, as you might can imagine, my day-to-day life, even aside from family, I also work in IT in the medical field. So, yeah. So, my life, very busy, can be pretty hectic, stressful, overstimulating, honestly, most days of the week. And so being able to go to the theater from time to time, I have learned, especially since becoming a father, I don't really have like, oh yeah, me and the boys, we going out to the bar, go drink and watch the game. That really ain't my style. I've always kind of been a kind of like quiet dude. I like to have a little bit of my space. And of course, with all these people in my home, I don't get that space and that quiet very often. And that is why I continue to look forward to movies. And honestly, that's why a lot of times I like going into movies knowing as little as possible. Simply because, just sometimes, especially nowadays, like there is so much information given out about movies before release. And so I'm like, hey, I just want to go in knowing as little as possible. And so, kind of just like going back a bit, like growing up, I didn't get to go to the movie theater very often. So, I'm from a very small town in deep southeast Texas called Jasper. And I think maybe my whole childhood, I maybe saw a few movies. I saw Pokemon, the first movie. Somehow I went and saw Soul Food with my mom and one of my aunts when I was way too young. um, and there maybe was one other, maybe like kids movie or something, whatever. But honestly, I think we didn't even have a theater. I think that theater shut down after a while, and so it really wasn't until years later when I went off to college in Marshall that I started finding that love of movies again. Because of course, being in IT, all the nerdy stuff you see behind me, whatever, it's like all my roommates and friends I met in college were all also big nerds and stuff. And like the movie theater in Marshall was freaking like $5. And so me and my roommates and stuff, we would just love like, hey, we bored, man. Hey, anybody want to go see a movie, whatever? And like, if one of my roommates would be like, man, yeah, but I ain't got no money. Like, dude, it's $5. I got you. So we all just hop in the car, roll to the theater. But then, once moved out of college, moved up to the area where I'm at now, whatever, I didn't have that uh, constant community, whatever. And that's kind of where I started getting comfortable with going to movies by myself because, for a while, I'd be like, okay, well, I'll wait until I can connect with a friend or somebody to go with me or whatever. But then eventually it's like, hey, these movies are coming out and our schedule ain't gonna allow. I'm gonna just gonna start seeing stuff on myself. And here we are a decade plus later and I love it. Now, yeah, I will go and see stuff with some of my kids occasionally from time to time, but 90% of the time I'm going to the theater is solo dolo by myself and I love it. And like I said, I truly respect and know a movie is great when, like I said, just everything else around me just kind of just like gets blacked out and it's just me with this giant screen and stuff. And so yeah, coming back to Marty Supreme. So all I knew about this movie going in was that it involved table tennis. Because like I said, I bare minimum information or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool, sure, table tennis. But hey, it's Mr. Chalamet. Hey, I'm gonna go see it. And I'll just say, table tennis is pretty much just like the focal point of this eye of the storm of chaos that this dude continues to find himself in this movie. Because like I said, like honestly, the way it even starts kind of sets the tone of like, hey, it's gonna be some wild stuff in here, it's gonna be some freaky stuff in here, whatever, but hey, buckle up and enjoy the ride. And enjoy the ride I did. But yeah, man, like this movie, like there were literally, I can think of like a few points, which I'm gonna get into spoiler stuff in a minute or whatever. I'm gonna keep it vague now, but there are definitely some points throughout this movie where I literally was like, literally sitting in my chair, like my hand just like, yo, this situation is either wild or yo, this is a effed up situation. Like multiple times. And I love that. I love that a movie can bring out that feeling from me because, like I said, it's like, hey, okay, yeah, sure, he's going to be a tennis champion story thing, or whatever. But it was like there was so much more uh, drama and danger and I don't know, just craziness, whatever. And like this dude continues to execute and makes his presence known on the screen. Because I always think back to a scene that I still watch from time to time, even though it was really just like a year or so ago. But in Dune 2, where Paul Atreides is giving that speech, basically telling like just like recounting stuff and just like telling the dude like, yeah, you're praying to your grandmother. She, died when you were this age. She lost her eye. Da, 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 da. Just like the presence in that scene, and then also in when he was doing Bob Dylan last year, also in a Complete Unknown, and just like how engrossed I got with certain scenes in certain movies that once again I go back and rewatch and replay from time to time. And honestly, like I'm looking at his list of stuff, whatever, and like I still need to go back. I still never watched that Wonka that came out in 2023. I actually heard it was like I said good, and all this other stuff I've been seeing. I'm like, okay, I need to go and correct that and go and watch that one day soon. Um, but yeah, like at the heart of this movie, it's about a guy that has a hunger for greatness and will do pretty much anything and everything to try to get one step closer to achieving that greatness. And yeah, there is collateral damage left and right on his journey for greatness. But like I said, it was just like a crazy storm that I could not look away from. And this be, like I said, another movie that's going to just stick in my head for, quite a bit. So, all that to say, dope movie. Happy I got to go see it here on Christmas Eve. And so now I'm gonna dive into a couple of specific spoilers. So hey, if you don't want to know any specific things with the movie, then bounce out now because this is really just gonna be a short, sweet, little episode about just this movie. So starting at the beginning of the movie. So you got Chalamet and the basically his girlfriend who was like his childhood best friend, who is played by Odessa Azion. Okay, yeah, Rachel, and of course, yeah, Marty. Um, and so wait, I just realized freaking Fran Drescher was in this movie. Like I don't think I even recognized her. But anywho, beginning of the movie, out the gate, they getting it on, and you literally see little sperms swim into an egg while they getting it on or whatever, and the transition of the sperm and egg thing turned into a freaking ping pong ball or table tennis ball with the title card. I was like, okay, all right, what am I about to get into? But like I said, they set the tone up front of like, hey, there's more going on here, or there's gonna be some other stuff happening aside from just hitting a ball back and forth across the table. But that situation, like his ongoing flirt with Gwyneth Paltrow's character, uh, his kind of like ride or die homie Wally, who is a Tyler the Creator, and all this stuff, man. Like the other kind of or one of the other kind of like big moments that I was just like mouth agape, just jaw on the floor, was when Marty and Wally were in the hotel. And so, they're trying to plan out stuff, whatever. And Marty is taking a bath. And while he's bathing, uh, Wally found a letter from like the international thing saying like he owed all this money from the hotel back in London or whatever from that situation. And the tub falls through the floor, lands on this dude's arm because this dude that they saw in the lobby earlier, whatever, with his dog, the guy was trying to wash and bathe his dog, whatever. Well, the tub that Marty was in fell through the floor, landed and broke this dude's arm, and trapped the dog. And it's just like, yo, like, what is happening? What is happening in this scene? And this just like I said, it just kept being moments like that. So it was like that. Uh, Actually, following up from that, Marty and Wally promising to take the dude's dog to the vet for some money or whatever, and then like they end up going to a gambling den, and or this gambling place at this like bowling alley, end up taking all this money from these dudes or whatever. They out having a good time, and they stop at the gas station. These dudes catch up to them, whatever, and as they trying to escape, you know, dudes busting out Wally's taxi window and stuff, and Marty spraying gasoline on everybody and stuff. The dog biting one of the dudes, and then in the chaos of them trying to get away, uh, the dog ends up, getting out of the car. And like I said, during all the chaos, whatever, as they're driving away, a fuse or something lights the gasoline, and the freaking gas station explodes. And so like you just see Marty like looking in the rearview mirror, just like shocked at like what happened, just like this chaotic situation and stuff. And then of course the whole dog thing led to a whole situation later on, because of course with the alluding scene in the beginning, Marty got Rachel pregnant at the beginning of the movie. And so, she comes back through later on, and, all this stuff. And then the scene where Marty and her are trying to go find this dog or whatever so they can try to get more money, and found out that some crazy dude that lived near the gas station or whatever ended up taking the dog. And I don't know why this guy was so hell bent on not letting this dog go. But it's like they went to his house or whatever. He wasn't home at the time. They confirm, okay, cool, the dog is here, whatever. Dude pulls up like, yo, y'all are trespassing. Y'all need to get up out of here. And Marty's like, yeah, I just need to get my dog. And the dude's like, what dog? And like everybody hears the dog barking, and Marty's like, really, like do you not hear? Do you not hear this dog barking? Like the dog is here. And so he pulls out a shotgun, starts shooting and stuff, whatever. Rachel panicking, whatever, ends up getting in the driver's seat, punching the gas, running over the dude and taking out part of his like porch thing. It was just the ensuing chaos. But then like Marty's constant cockiness and attitude and personality, whatever, continued to like, it gets him into trouble, but also gets him through navigating different situations. Because like I said, like his constant thing with K Stone, Gwyneth Paltrow's character, how that continues to just go over the course of the movie and different things like that. And then like, early in the movie, his big match in London where he pretty much got obliterated by the dude from Japan, and how that turned into a whole international situation. But I really, it was really cool seeing this final showdown at the end of the movie between Marty and shoot. Let me see if did they mention what is his name? Did they not mention the Japanese player's name? Koto Endo. How could I like Endo? Hear it so many times in freaking the manga. Some of the manga I got behind me, but yeah, Endo, like Marty versus Endo rematch, so to speak, whatever. But okay, even the situation for him to even get back to Japan with, like, he met up with or he ran into Kay during her stage play thing, whatever, and basically she ends up, falling for him again, or like, okay, hey, here's this necklace, whatever. And hey, he would have been scot-free, take the necklace, go sell it, get out of there, whatever. But no, he had to be greedy, start making out with her, whatever, and then they start trying to get busy on the grass in the middle of the park, and police show up, start slapping handcuffs on them, or it's like, oh, hey, I know you, you're that famous actress. And so it's getting out of hand. Then yeah, man, and then like he follows her back to the house, whatever. That is something I would still like to know what the phone conversation, what that situation was, like why she was crying, because we never really see her anymore after that point. But like Marty pretty much groveling to the husband for another opportunity, like, hey, I'm sorry, blah blah blah. And the guy's like, okay, go get that paddle. Okay, bend over this chair, and I'm gonna spank you for all the stuff, whatever. And but once again, it is like Marty is like, okay, sometimes he will suck up his pride to an extent to get to where he needs to go. But that final match, he did like to kind of like play on fake match, whatever. But then he kind of was having like nah, I can't go out like this, especially if I'm not gonna get a shot to compete in the world championships, whatever. Then like basically, hey, this is gonna be my world championship match here. So hey, let's redo this whole thing, whatever. No holds barred, and hey, the homie got the victory and stuff. It went down to the wire, which I appreciated. But yeah, all in all, dope movie. Dope movie with lots of just craziness happening. But like I said, just another Timothy Chalamet classic that I'm gonna be thinking about. So, but yeah. So if you're still here, let me know what you thought of Marty Supreme, as well as what are your thoughts on going to the movies still? Do you still enjoy the theater experience, or have you fully converted to like, I'll just wait till, it's on a streaming service, or I can just buy it digitally and watch it at home? But yeah, like I said earlier, I appreciate having the access to go and see movies and stuff, and especially because of where I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, I am not hurting for movie theaters. Like there are some all around me, and so that is a awesome thing. It is a blessing that is definitely come in handy. A lot of times, especially like whenever there's like anime movies that gives oftentimes very limited theatrical runs, but between me being up here in a big city and then also Crunchyroll, since they bought Funimation years ago, Funimation's headquarters is like 30 minutes, or their old headquarters was like 30, 40 minutes from where I live. And so that's like another thing of like, okay, well, now Crunchyroll has a base here in DFW, whatever. And so, yeah, we for sure get, a lot of like limited run anime movies and stuff, whatever. So, but anyway, let me know what you think of movie experience nowadays and all this different stuff. Do you have different things you do to kind of like maximize the experience? So, like for me, earlier this year, I tried out the new Fandango subscription thing. It was like $100 for a year, but you get like a $10 uh, monthly coupon to spend on whatever movie, as well as my uh, every 4 movies you go to, you get a $5 coupon. So a lot of times, hey, this stuff stacks up, and they take away all online fees and stuff. And so, like last week, I went to see I went to see One Battle After Another in theater, whatever, 68 cents. Went to see Marty Supreme today, cost me $1 and some change. And so like I'm like, yeah, I think the subscription thing is like paying off and stuff. So, but anyway, I've been going for almost 25 minutes. It is almost Christmas. So shout out to everybody out there. I hope y'all are enjoying your holidays, whether you're with family, working, whatever the case may be, whatever. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. And like I said, let me know what you think. But with that being said, as I always say, treat yourself to something nice, read some manga, watch some anime, TV shows, and movies, play some video games, and live your best life. And with that, I am out. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.